Hey guys, Brett Weiss here. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am in full chill mode today for the Intellivision Amico. Just kidding. Even though I have the Intellivision Amico shirt on, I am always going to be truthful with you guys. And if there's something I perceive that's negative about the Amico, I will tell you. If the system comes out and I'm disappointed with it, I will let you know. But today I want to talk about a possibility with the Amico. Will Cornhole, one of the 4 built-in games with the console, be a killer app for the system? Now, as many of you know, a killer app is a system seller, a game that is so awesome, that is so great, that gets, word of mouth or whatever the case. It's just such a cool game that everybody wants to play, that it sells systems. People say, hey, I want to buy that system just for that game. A big example of this is the Game Boy, or Tetris for the original Game Boy. Also Space Invaders for the Atari 2600. Perhaps Halo for the Xbox, and on and on and on. Now, this may sound silly, Cornhole. It's a silly sounding name. It's just sort of a backyard barbecue game where you toss beanbags or corn bags, as it were, back and forth, to the raised platform, the sort of ramp looking thing with a hole in it, and you just do it back and forth. And some people take it seriously. There are tournaments on ESPN for this, but most people just maybe drink and play it just for fun and toss it around. But as I know, contests can get very heated and very intense. Some people take this very seriously. Cornhole is a super fun game. I have only talked to one person, Delph Meek, my good friend, who doesn't like Cornhole. It's a fun game, and I think it could actually be a killer app. Now, I did a video a couple of weeks or so ago where I wondered out loud. The video was about, I didn't think the Amico had a killer app, at least yet. Anything they've announced or shown in trailers or anything, I thought, I just don't know if this console has a system seller yet. The Atari 2600 Space Invaders was its killer app. It came out in 1980. And the system came out in 1977. But I don't know if the Amico could wait that long into its life to have a killer app. But I think right out of the gate, I've been thinking about this. Ever since I did that video, I got to thinking, what if Cornhole is the killer app the system needs? Now, let's talk about this for a minute. Now, the American Cornhole League. Now, we saw in a recent video from Intellivision that the American Cornhole League, which is basically maybe the cornhole sport equivalent of like Major League Baseball or the NBA or something, obviously not as big, but still a thing. Now, there's a Wikipedia listing for the American Cornhole League, but there's no write-up yet. So somebody get on that. We need American Cornhole League to have a full write-up. But they do have an impressive website, and it's legit. And Cornhole is legit. People play it everywhere. Not only, is it a popular spectator sport, the ESPN tournaments have gotten good ratings. You see, backyard parties, backyard barbecues, restaurants. If you're waiting out, a lot of restaurants have cornhole sets, either in the back or the front. If you're waiting for a table or just hanging out, maybe having some drinks, a lot of restaurants have cornhole now. I see it all over the place. We went to the Shiner Bock Brewery outside of Austin, Texas. The awesome beer, Shiner Bock. Love me some Shiner. And there was cornhole there. We played that. You just see it all over. You see it, I've read that other breweries have it as well. You just see it everywhere. Tailgating. If you go to a sporting event, football, baseball, basketball, whatever. Do people tailgate for basketball? Anyway, football, obviously, tailgating is very popular. And you do see cornhole, people playing cornhole all over. It's just a super popular, around 15 years ago in the Midwest, it sort of started gaining steam. Well, just in the last few years, holy cow, it is ubiquitous. It is everywhere. So why would anybody want to play cornhole on a video game system when you can get a real cornhole set and play it? So I did a little research. A good cornhole set can cost, $100, $200, and not everybody's just gonna automatically have one. And a lot of times you might play your friend's cornhole set, or you go to their house and you play it. Not everybody has a set. Now you're going to say, well, the Amico is $250, $300 or whatever. Not everybody's going to have that. Perhaps you're onto something there. But with the Amico, obviously there's going to be a ton of other games. But still, why would you want to play cornhole if if you're a big cornhole fan, you likely have an outlet for it somewhere. You play it at your friend's house, you play it yourself or whatever, or you're content with just playing it when you see it in public because it is everywhere. Well, What if it's raining? What if you're just hanging out at home and you don't have immediate access to it? What if you want to play a video? You're in a gaming mood. Like every time I want to play basketball, it's not always real basketball. Sometimes I want to play NBA Jam. Or if I'm, in the mood to throw the football around, sometimes that's virtual. Same way with baseball. Sometimes you just want to play a video game and that happens to be a video game sport. Well, there you go. So there are several reasons. And what if you're just by yourself and you don't have someone to play against? On the Amico, I'm sure, it's noted, they're touting it as couch co-op, multiplayer system. I am absolutely sure. I think I've heard Tommy say that all the games will have a one-player mode. Unlike the original television, some of those early Intellivision sports titles were two-player only, which was really strange. But anyway, Cornhole will have a one-player mode. So if you just want to play a Cornhole by yourself in the comfort of your own home, boom, you can do it on the Intellivision Amico. Now, the Cornhole, it's not guaranteed to be a system seller or even a popular game. It just may fade into obscurity, sort of like the calculator on Bally Astrocade. Now, Bally Astrocade, I believe it was built, had 4 games built in, just like the Amico. That's a classic console Atari era that didn't really quite do quite as well as the 2600. But anyway, it just reminded me of the Bally Astrocade. It had 4 built-in games, including like a gunfighting game and stuff. Anyway, I'm getting way far afield here. Let's go back to the Amico. But anyway, it may fade into obscurity. It just may be one of 4 games that just sort of gets lost while people are excited about Moon Patrol and Demon Attack and all these other reimagined classics. But it could be a killer app through word of mouth. Now, I'm going to tell you in a minute what Cornhole needs to be a great game, how it needs to be on the gaming console to be, a popular game, one that people really want to play. But very briefly, I want to compare Cornhole to sort of like Wii Sports for the Nintendo Wii. Now, obviously, maybe this is a little bit of a stretch because Nintendo is a household name, where Amico and Intellivision aren't yet. Back in the day, Intellivision was pretty much a household name, well behind Atari, but still very popular. In the early 80s, everybody knew what an Intellivision was, and likely you knew someone that had one, at least one person. But anyway, the Wii Sports, like Wii Sports and Wii Play and all that, the Wii series is the fourth biggest franchise in gaming history, $14.808 billion. Now, a lot of that is the Nintendo name, but the only way that franchise could have ever gotten anywhere near that is if Wii Sports, it was a great, great, great collection of games, Wii Tennis and Wii Bowling in particular. The intuitive controls, and it was so much fun. So many people played, including me. I went over to, played their friend's system or someone they knew's system and immediately went out and bought it. And this happened to me. I went over to my brother-in-law's house and played their Wii with my sister and, their family and just played bowling and tennis. And we played baseball, and that was not bad, but I really loved bowling and tennis and still do. I still play it sometimes by myself or when people come over. And Cornhole could possibly catch on like that. Now, before you think I'm crazy, when the Wii was in the works and people were seeing what it was and the motion controls, a lot of people thought it was gimmicky. No way in a million years anybody would have thought that the Wii franchise, the Wii Sports, Wii Play, and all of that would have become the 4th biggest franchise in gaming history. Now, it's a Nintendo console, so there's always a possibility it's going to do well, but Nintendo consoles have failed before, like the Virtual Boy, like the Wii U, and but there was no guarantee for the Wii, and there's no guarantee for the Amico. But Cornhole could catch on just because of word of mouth. Now, Intellivision Amico doesn't have the cachet of Nintendo, but it's got to start somewhere. Things get popular that are new, and Cornhole and the Amico and all that's going to be brand new, but it could catch on if it's a great game. Now, what does it need to be a great game? It needs to have a physical feel to it, like a heft, a weight. Now, I'm speaking metaphorically in terms of weight, but if you played Wii Bowling and Wii Tennis, you know what I mean. It has just sort of a tangible feel to it. The controller is vibrating, and it's very intuitive, and you're up off your couch, and you're moving around, and, rolling the bowling ball feels just right, and swinging that tennis racket feels great. It just needs to have that great feel, like you were physically playing a sport. It really does. It needs, you know, the controller, I'm sure it will vibrate, and I just really hope that the controls are so fine-tuned. With the Amico, I think the controls are super important because we've all seen the unusual, unorthodox control design that sort of is roughly patterned after the original television D-pad, not D-pad, but control disc that a lot of people, you know, aren't crazy about, but a lot of, you know, hardcore Intellivision fans love that. But anyway, it's going to be really important for the Intellivision controller to have an intuitive feel and to just really respond. Your movements just need to respond in a blink of an eye with your controller movements to what's happening on the screen. Really, really important, especially for Cornhole. You may think I'm just being an Intellivision Amico shill, but I'll tell you, when the Amico comes out and I play Cornhole and I get my family around to play some 4-player Cornhole, maybe have friends over for 8-player Cornhole, the real Cornhole game, I was reading some of the instructions and history of it and stuff. It was designed from 2 to 8 players. So I'm sure the Amico version will have 8 players, I would imagine, with the ACL. The ACL, the American Cornhole League, involved. I'm sure they will, you know, get that right, include all the rules and stuff. Also, the game's going to need a lot of options, you know, easy, difficult, everything in between. And it needs all these different modes and maybe some target games where your only objective is to get swishes, which is what they call when the beanbag or the cornhole bag goes straight in without, you know, sliding in. It just like a basketball swish. Then it needs all these different options, just, you know, maybe timed modes or, you know, tournament modes, all these different things. So with great controls, with excellent, you know, motion, with just pinpoint accuracy in the controls, and different options, and just great gameplay, and, you know, decent, respectable graphics. With Cornhole, you know, you're not going to need, you know, photorealism or anything. You just need, like, you know, with the Wii Sports, you know, those are cartoonish. And when I first saw that, I thought, there's no way this is going to compete, you know, with the big sports games. But Wii Sports outsold, you know, probably every other sports game just about, if not all of them, because it's one of the biggest selling games of all time, Wii Sports. All right, maybe you guys think that's a stretch, comparing Cornhole to Wii Sports, but let me know what you think in the comments of the potential of Cornhole being a killer app for the Intellivision Amico. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching the video. Thank you for liking the video. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Become a Patreon. I'm going to put a link in this video in the description. If you like my videos, if you like my books, $1 a month, you can be a patron and get all kinds of cool stuff. All right, guys, thank you so much. We'll talk to you later.